what the wise men say. I'm just a king.
Welcome back to GOTv Show, still on campus decency. Indeed, the society expects a lot from institutions of higher learning, and that's why this topic becomes a real vital and so appropriate for a youth out there. In studio with me, I have Josiah Odanga and Enix Obuchunju. How are you guys?
Good.
Welcome to the show. And maybe from my extreme end, before we embark on the topic, I'd like just to have a brief about you guys. From my end, I have Josiah. Josiah, tell us something briefly about you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My name, as you have been told, I'm Josiah Odanga. I'm a communication and media student in Kisii University. I'm actually expecting to graduate this year, December. So just some months to go. Besides that, I'm a youth leader. I had so many youth organizations back in the village. In some I'm a leader, in some I'm just members. And again on top, I'm a local coordinator in an organization called African Students for Liberty, which is it is world over, but we have an African chapter, again down to Kenyan chapter, and now to the grassroots. And so I represent the Southern Nyanza region in that organization.
Wow, an inspiring profile right there from Josiah Odanga. And now I have a very fascinating name to me. I have Enix Obuchunju.
Enix Obuchunju is my name.
Welcome.
So unlike Odanga, who has a very long CV and a very unique way to introduce himself, I'm Enix Obuchunju.
Yeah.
I'm a news editor at Pamoja FM, the voice of Kibera. 99.9 is the frequency. At the same time, I'm a media monitor with Peace Pen Communication. So I've been monitoring elections for the past, since August 8th. At the same time, I'm a victim in terms of relationships. That's why I've today come here to join you, Rolex.
Welcome.
To talk about this big issue, this elephant in the room.
Okay. Now, as you can see, things are getting elephant still in studio, just like Obuchunju has said. And now, welcome to GOTv Show. Actually referring to our topic, which is campus decency. They say that school is a factory where young boys are manufactured into useful men into the society. Now, referring to that from Alpha Day and other stories that I've studied in high school, I feel that the highest level of the highest level of decency in reference to what the society expects of us is the institutions of higher learning. And now, you guys having learned from university and also being youth leaders, what do you think? What are some of the indecent behaviors we have in institutions of higher learning, as per now? Maybe we start from Odanga.
Okay, thank you. According to me, from my perspective, there are so many indecent things in the society, and if we come back to our institutions of higher learning, like let us take Kisii University for example. These indecent acts or indecency in the society, they border on all aspects of life, both socially, culturally, we have economically and academically. They are indecent things that we can talk about. Like for example, now if we come, because we are in higher institutions of learning, the school industry. Now we have so many things, because here is where we expect students to come in while they are not qualified. They move out there while they are qualified. But of late you find that the society is complaining. They are not getting the fruit of the fruits or whatever they expect out of the students who are churned out of our universities. Now, like for example, just recently, I was engaged in a heated debate with some of my colleagues, and we argued just how students nowadays have forgotten about learning, because in university we know it is all about research. Yeah. People have forgotten about that aspect of it, and now you find people are even graduating, some don't even know how to write. Technically, there are some technical aspects of writing that they can't do. Some can't do research, so you find that is actually abnormal, and I consider that indecent.
Indecent.
Socially,
Yeah.
we also have people who come to campus thinking that they have made it in life, and that now they are free to do anything that they can.
Mentality of
The mentality,
yeah.
depending on how they behave, and now behavior is again in various aspects.
Yeah.
You find relationship wise they are out of order. You go how they behave academically, they are out of order. How they go do their things politically, they are out of order, because we know politics is also part of our society,
Yes.
even in the universities.
And maybe if I might, cut you short. Obuchunju,
Mhm.
what do you think is the current state of decency in our institutions of higher learning?
The current state of decency in our
Yeah,
institutions.
do you think it's worth it? Do you think we could refer to decency in our institutions of learning now as compared to maybe our fathers and people who were in institutions of higher learning?
I'm glad you mentioned the word father, and the word father can refer to a parent.
Yeah.
This whole thing packaged in maybe one bottle or one paper bag.
Yeah,
I can say indecency
yeah,
starts from home.
that's true.
In as far as we are students, tunakuja kampo wote tuna accumulate hapa first year, second year, third year, fourth years, but inaanzia kule nyumbani. Kama wewe ni mwanafunzi umetoka nyumbani and yet roots zako si poa, your father is indecent,
Yeah.
your mother is indecent, definitely utakuja kampo, you become worse than them.
In short, are you saying that indecency is pinning down to how we are brought up from our families back?
Exactly. That is what I've just said.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Which brings me to Odanga. Odanga, do you think that is it because of the diversity we have? Because institutions of higher learning, unapata mtu ametoka Wajir, unapata mtu ametoka Mombasa, and people come here for a common goal. Maybe we are course-mates, and maybe we have a common setup. We form a community where we are. Do you think this also enhances indecency?
Actually, I concur with my brother here, Mr. Enix Obuchunju, because this thing is also part of the culture. How one is brought up is matters a lot. But once we are in campus, or once we are in an institution of higher learning, there are normally morals that guide such institutions. We have professional morals. If you are, for example, in a university to study journalism, then you should be guided by the ethics of the profession. If you are in a university to study law, you should be guided by the ethics of that profession, so that you go out, or while you are in that campus, you behave according to how you've been streamlined by the professional codes of ethics that that particular profession offers.
Now, maybe if I might take us to quite a different dimension. Now, Odanga referred to socially speaking, where we need to talk of decency in relation to our social aspect. Now, institution of higher learning, let's say the university setup, this is a place where there is diversity. And I believe that by diversity, we mean we should grow socially.
True.
And there are a lot of indecent social behaviors that we interact with, whereby nowadays people have lost trust. There is no trust in campus. There is a notion about campus. What do you think? There are things like sponsor, co-sponsor. Yeah, kuna vitu kama, there are a lot of things, you can name them.
Exactly.
What do you think? What do you think has escalated all this?
Let me take that first. Kitu ya kwanza ni hooliganism. In campus. It is so rampant that I'm sure I've met various culprits and various children and children who are products of hooliganism.
They call it T-beamness.
T-beamness. You see, this word T-beamness needs to be demystified and be told what does D mean, what does E mean. But when you just use the word T-beam in a statement, haileti ile maana sana. The second thing, Rolex, inaweza kuwa in terms of relationships. I think tunalack kitu ya maana sana. Watu tunakosa kupatiwa yale, tunasema kwa Kiswahili motisha, tunakosa kuhimizwa, hatuambiwi what to do in the society in terms of relationship. That's why unakuja first year, ukipata first year anakuja ajui what is happening here. Haya, ametoka boarding school, ameingia campus,
Culture shock.
away from their parents. So inakuja haya.
Okay.
Here things tunafanya hivi. First week, second week, TBM.
Wow. Odanga, what experience did you have?
Okay, I think maybe for the first time I want to disagree
You
with
want
my
to
fellow
disagree?
panelist, but I don't want him to take some things out of proportion.
Okay.
Like when it refers to TB, but I don't want to engage in that. But now, back to the topic.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this: in terms of relationship, culture matters a lot, and because we are diverse in nature, students, people who have come from all corners of the world, and they have converged in a place where they call an institution of higher learning, they must learn to live as brothers. But there are some things that now you find that because of the cultural background or the upbringing, you find people must differ because of the past experiences, maybe because of the current experiences, and whatever you expect in life. For example, I think when you talk of hooliganism, you know, people are shaped into what they become. I normally say that every student is a goon, but it depends on, you know, goon and hooliganism are the same. So every student is a goon, but it depends on what. Now that's where the cultural aspect or the background aspect of it comes in. You can be a political goon, for example. Let me go straight into that. In universities, our students, we practice politics during the electioneering of the student union. Now you find that time hooliganism is so high in our institutions of higher learning. But again, we shouldn't pin down these people whom we consider goons because they have different ideologies away from what we believe in. We shouldn't pin them down, because actually they are shaped by their past and their current. For example, somebody from a very poor background and somebody from a rich background and somebody from a moderate background, these people they are very diverse in terms of philosophy and ideology, and you can't expect them to conform to your standards. Some will think that you are putting them in detention, you are doing something that they can't live up to. Okay. So you will have to part ways with them at that point.
Now,
yes?
Maybe to cut Odanga short, I feel that do you guys feel that we have some level of decency? Do you guys feel we have decency in our institutions of higher learning?
We have some level of decency in first year and fourth year, but in between here, watu tunapotea sana. You know, Odanga is trying to justify the word hooligan, which is associated to goons and politics. There's no hooliganism in marriages and whatever, or relationships. Hooliganism is only associated to
hooliganism. Now, don't misquote me. Hooliganism, I had only focused on that aspect of politics. Now let me come to relationship or socially. You find nowadays we have Team Mafisi, that's hooliganism, and so many people are victims. I don't know whether you're one, I doubt, but there are people. Now you find that Team Mafisi is not a good thing. Normally that's whatever relationship hooliganism. You find some people are just seated somewhere, some young men who ought to be in a library doing some serious study, they sit somewhere in a corridor, they wait, they prey on young innocent ladies who have just joined campus wearing full dresses. Then soon you find the ladies, they are blown out of proportion. They start wearing, somebody from Mount Elgon, somebody from Wajir, somebody coming here knowing very well that I put on a bui, or somebody knowing that according to where I come from, whatever we should be doing is to put on a full dress too.
Lawrence, let me cut Odanga short. I don't know what he means by the word Team Mafisi, because it's just a word tumetumia ku paint some people at in Team Mafisi. For example, what do you mean by Team Mafisi?
Team Mafisi is this. A fisi is a hyena.
Exactly.
Now a hyena, they normally prey. Yeah, they pray you.
So it is symbolic.
It is symbolic. So if you are in Team Mafisi, then you belong to a gang of hyenas. And now this one is in the context of students, or in context of human beings.
Okay.
Now it is symbolic. Now, Team Mafisi, normally we have males and females who belong to that club. So the males.
Is it a club?
No,
is a member.
Allow me to say
maybe because of time, allow me deviate from the hooliganism, Mafisi and stuff. And now I want us to take this dimension, if you allow me. I feel we should take the dimension of there's a parent watching us right now.
True.
And this parent, in one way or the other, was in an institution of higher learning. And mostly from our interviews that you saw before we got to this show, you realize parents have their opinions about how campus was and what campus is right now. There is a very big gap between the decency as at then and what we have right now in the name of decency.
To any parent watching this show,
Yeah.
times are changing. Hauta expect sisi tuvae zile longi ulikuwa unavaa huko nyumbani kitambo. Ile miaka yenyu. Times are changing.
Yeah.
Hauta expect sisi tufuge manywele vile unafuga. We need to put on some more whatever. That's why unaona mimi leo.
So do we say that to a parent out there, are you saying that a parent out there should recognize that time is changing?
Exactly.
Now, if time is changing, are we changing towards the positive, towards decency? Because decency ought to be maybe constant, though dynamic in its own way. Because the way currently you shave is not the way parents used to shave before.
True.
And the way you relate right now is not the way. We have technology, we have a lot of diversity, a lot of dynamics that we have currently in a social setup, especially in institutions of higher learning. But now, do you think, guys, maybe as we wrap up, do you think we have taken a positive progression towards decency, or there is a negative deviation of that?
Okay, according to me, indeed, things are changing and things do change. And we must learn to live according to the standards of our time. Our parents who are watching this show, they lived according to the standards of their time. And they had their fair share of challenges and successes in terms of decency or in decent behaviors. As now, we are living in our time. We have our successes and we have our challenges. So they must just live up to whatever the times that we are in. So according to me, we are just on the right footing, but again, to some extent, on the wrong footing, because the challenges must always be there.
The challenges.
But there are some other aspects in which we need to pick from the parents, in terms of, you cannot tell me that learning what the lecturer is telling you, kile lecturer anakufunza ni tofauti na kile unafunzwa saa hizi. So we need to pick some certain things and take them and leave others in. Aside from Odanga, who is saying that times are changing. Times are not changing. People are really changing. But if it is a Thursday, you are parented a Thursday too, one.
It's okay. Now, now let me take it back to our. We are taking a short break, and when we come back, actually we've been highlighting campus decency, and this, by extension, calls for what our parents expect of us in relation to what they went through before. We are trying to compare whether we are on the right track or not. And when we come back, we shall be talking about university decency, how to restore it. And in studio, I'm with Josiah Odanga and Henix Obuchunchu.
Henix Obuchunchu.
My name is MC Rolex. Stay put.